Hello and welcome to week 10 of our class. Today's topic is creating forms. Please open the database which calls Database for Forms, which you can download from our website, and what I mentioned in class notes and assignment. And by the way, don't forget to rename the file as your last name, your first name, class assignment 8.sccdb. And we will do this assignment together. So class assignment 8, that's what I will do in my video. So once we open the new database, the first thing which you have to do, you have to learn about database fields and relationships between table. In order to do that, you have to go to database tools and you have to press relationships. Again, let me show you again. You go to database tools, relationships. And as you understand relationships, from relationship you can see what kind of information each particular database have. For example, from these relationships you can see that this database have list of students, and each student have primary key, last name, first name, phone number, application date, documentation, and two foreign keys, major code, which links to table majors, and the relationship that one major can have many students. Like in computer major you can have many students, but each student can have only one major. Also you can have advisors. Each student can have only one advisor, but each advisor can have many students. Hopefully by now you know how to construct this relationship and what it means. Also you have relationship between student and teachers through table tbl_student_teacher. It means that one teacher can have many students, and one student can have many teachers, and they connected through foreign keys. Whenever you create forms, it's very important to understand relationships. First we will start from simple forms, and then we'll get into more complex things in the next 2 weeks. So let's start creating new forms. Before we create forms, actually we need to understand where data for this form have to be written. It's very important that we understand where we write our data. So for example, if I want to create form to maintain student data, I will have to write all data into tbl_student, because that's what it represents. Let me close it for now and I will save changes. And we create forms. The way we create forms, there's different ways. Right now we'll discuss how to create form in design view. In my opinion, it's the easiest and most flexible method, and it's very similar to what we learned with reports. So in order to create forms in design view, you have to click on form design, and new form is generated for you, the basic new form, empty form. Then we have to name it. You press save and you name it. For our purposes, I name the form FRM_students, and I press OK. Now as you can see here, the forms are created, and we like to call all forms with FRM_, so please use this naming convention. Now all forms start with the name. There is few ways to do it. One way is you click here on the left corner, right, and you right click of the mouse, right button of the mouse, and you select form header and footer. Again, form header and footer, and you have header of the form, and you can drag and drop and make it smaller or bigger, right? So it's easy. Now never forget to press save. Now on top it says form design tools. This is all tools to make forms more interactable and nice looking. So for now let's click on design. Each form must have a name, right? When you open the form, you having a name. So you press, in order to add a name, we have to add labels. We go to controls, right? There is a control part. The control number 3, it says A big and A small, it says label, right? If you point on it and do not do anything, do not press any buttons on the button, you will see that it will say label. You select it and you just draw it on the full, and you type college students, and I want to make sure that S is capital. Then you want it to be in the center. You click on format, and same as Microsoft Office, you press it. Notice when you write it, not many format function are working. You have to click anywhere else and just select the box. So the box only selected, and then you can select any color of the font. I will make it red, and I will make it 22, right? And I will make it bold, and maybe I will change the color, change the font with something interesting like AR Destin. I'm not sure if you have this font, so you can use any font which you like. I use font which called AR space Destin. I think it looks a little bit futuristic. Now if something open here, you can close it, right? Now if you go back to design, you have same options as you had for reports. So you go to property sheet and you click on the left corner here to make sure that you get properties for the form, right? There's different elements. You need properties only for the form. And on data tab, you have to write record source. Record source is a table where you want to write your data. So if your data want to be written in the table student, you have to select table student here, since this form is a student form, right? So it's number one step, very important step, not number 1, it's already step number 3, I think. So the more very important step is to attach table where you want your data to be written. We want to write data in table student. Then you press existing fields and you see all fields from table student. Now fields from table students. So these are fields from table students, and these are fields which you want to put on a form in order to add data to it. To put it on a form, it's same thing, similar as you put it on a report. For example, if you want to put student primary key for student ID, you just drag and drop, and you can put, and you can use any design you like. For example, on top I want to have student ID, and student last name I wanted to have underneath. So same as in a report, you cannot change any writing inside of the white box. Only in transparent box you can change labels. Basically, transparent box is a label, and this is a text box which is connected directly to the field in your table. So instead of PK student ID, I want to call it student ID. That's how we see it on the form. And if I go to format, I make it bold, and I want it to be black, right? And I add the form student ID. So first I added last name, but I realized that I want to have first name, and I want to have last name. Right? And the way you move it, you press on a gray square and you move it anywhere you like. Label, and then you move text box in there. Maybe I want to make it a bit longer for long names, right? And here you can practice to be a designer. I want to have last name. I want to have I want to have phone number underneath of it, right? And I want it to be first name. I want to be black, so format black bold, black bold. So it will look all the same, right? Phone number, maybe I want to be longer. Application date, maybe I want to have application date next to student ID. So here you play as designer and you can use any colors you like. And documentation I want to also be here, right? Documentation checkbox. And maybe I can make things smaller a little bit so it will look cuter. Now maybe you know what we can do. We can move phone number here. I don't really care how you design it. I just want to show that you are in charge. And for now, major code, right? And foreign key advisor ID. For now, I wanted to have it here. Later, we will learn how to make it look a little bit better by using combo boxes, right? So we press save because we already given name. We just can press save, and we move it a little bit up, right? The footer up, so it will be here. We save it. Now, if you go to design view, we can see view, and forms have as a report several views. Right now we're in design view. Next thing is layout view. Layout view, it's a view with the data, with the form data, and I will close fill list, right? With the data, but you can make changes. Now, if you make in design, so you can make changes. For example, I see that with the data, this box is too big. This box is too big, and I want to move a little bit application date. So I want to move it. So I moved it a lot. It's a little bit hard to move things in. No, I don't move it here, right? If I will go back to view in design view, I want to move it like this, right? So I will have things straight, and so it's good. So there are different views. So you go to view and you go to form view to see how forms looks like. Also, to get to the form view, you can do it easily. You can just click FRM students and you get to the students form. And for example, here you can notice that while I create everything bold, I forget to do bold last name and documentation. For that, I click right bottom of the mouse on the form, and I go to design view, and I change last name format bold and black, and documentation bold and black. Sounds cool. Now, if I double click on the form, I see form, how it looks like. I think it looks good. Now let me show you a little bit about form. So you can do anything with the form as you do with the table. So for example, let's open table student, and you see here you have 11 students. Now on the bottom of a form you have a form navigations. So you can browse one by one, right? Or you can press on the yellow star, new blank record, and let's add new record. We don't add student ID because it's auto number. And if we add new student record, we can say application date April 10. We'll say that student have documentation, first name. I want to call student Gabriel, and I will call it Soratos. And phone number is 676-898-00. Right, this is the phone. Major code, let me go to table majors, and major code PE, physical education, right? We'll have major code PE, and advisory ID, Let's open table advisors to see advisor ID. I will have it advisor Max Arketov. So it's 4, right? Advisor ID 4. And I press next record. So I will have empty record. If I go to table students, right? And I do refresh, you will see that Saratas Gabriel, this is the student which we just added through the form. So let me close all tables so we can see only, let me close everything. Then if you see the forms, next time if you want to search for Gabriel, you have a search box and you can find every record. So if I type Gabriel, notice you get to student ID 12 Gabriel right away, right? Or if I want to see everyone within PE, right? So this is number 1, the next, right? So if I want PE and enter, it will bring me always. So you can search all fields and it will be first record which closely matches that field. It's like a keyword search. You can go back and forth, right? Like same thing as you do it on a table. So last record and first record. Now you also, for example, Francis Alvara, right? If you open table student, you will see Francis Alvara, it's student number 1. Notice application date 1/9/2012. So what you can do, you can change here and you can call it 1/25/2012. Once you press next, right, or save, depends what you want. If you go to table student and press refresh, you would see that application date change. So forms are good for updating data and editing data. Also, if you want to delete any record, for example, student Alec Britton, right? He is here as student ID 2, Alec Britton. So what I'm going to do on the left side, I can select it. So this arrow means selected, right? If it's highlighted, it's selected, and I press delete. Right? I can press delete, selected, and I press delete. And it said that that specify cascading deleting, that you will delete 1 record. Press yes. Now if you go to table student, you see that this record is deleted. So next time you open the table student, you don't have the record number 2, right? It's missing. So you can use forms to delete records and create records. Now let's create another form so we can practice. We'll create for form teachers, right? So we'll create separate form for teachers. For that we do exactly same thing. We go to create, form design, we save the form, we call it FRM teachers, and I have to make sure I call it correctly, FRM underscore teachers, and we press OK. So now we have here FRM teachers, and because teachers are written to the form teachers, to the table teachers, I have to make sure I select here, so here select form, property sheet per form, and for record source you select teacher, TBL teacher. Now add existing field, and I add existing field, and then I press here on the left side, right bottom of the mouse, and I press form header and footer, right, big A small a, right, I press here and I call it this form college teachers. So I call it college teachers. I go to format, bold, I want fonts to be 22, I want the box itself to be bigger so you can see it, right? We'll do it here. Good. And we will do it here. And for a color, I will select red one and bold, right? I'm not going to change font. Also, if you click on a background here, you have fill back color. For example, I want background to be white. So now it is white. So it's very easy. Now I add the field, I bring PK teacher ID, it's our primary key and teacher ID. So we remove PK, so we will make it look nicer. And here you have ability to play with it a little bit. Teacher first name and teacher last name. Teacher first name, and I want in same line, so I can make form bigger. I want to do teacher last name. And I want to make sure that I write it. Again, you can change only transparent items without white background. So let me do it. This is good. And here I will have teacher specialty, right? I will have teacher specialty as the list box, because that's how we have in our table specifications. Good. So we save it and we're good to go. So if you form teachers, you have the all teachers, all 8 teachers, right? Again, let's add a new teacher. We'll call that teacher John and Smith and English teacher. Then I will do next. I close it. If I go to table teacher, last teacher is John Smith, English teacher. That's about it with forms. So we created 2 form teachers and form students to write data in respective tables.